根合法，中央人民政府今天胜利了。
但是你们能不能？
刚才也问我啊，我可以回半点去，无可奉告。你们也不高兴。
哎，什么叫中国共产党啊？党叫干啥就干啥。
黑夜即将到来，一定要做好准备。
但是。
干死共产党！不干死共产党，绝不罢休！
消灭中共是正义的需要。
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Exposing the CCP. It's very happy to see you all again, and also glad to see you, Chris and Mr. Truce. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be on the show again tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Also, welcome, Mr. Truce, our friend.
How are you? How are you, Zee and Chris? Good to see you again.
Excellent.
And I think the CCP should be taken down very soon, the way we're going in the world.
Yeah,
Thanks.
for me, the best answer would be yesterday. We should have taken down CCP yesterday. But I think we're making a lot of progress, and new federal state of China whistleblower movement supporters are strong, and even we have a very tough times, but everybody is still trying to help to spreading the truth regarding the CCP to help to take them down. So now we're gonna continue with our topics. Like we're going to exposing the existence of the CCP in the Western world. There seems to be ubiquitous now, and today's topics mostly focus on the financial world. There's a lot of U.S., China financial wars, tariff wars, and especially right now because of the inflation and the high interest rate, a lot of people couldn't afford their mortgages, having tough time buying their regular grocery foods, etc. So today we're going to just hear some intelligence from previous Miles Schools exposures videos and to learn about how the CCP infiltrate already into the United States financial system. And let's come up with a way to fight back, right? Take them down. Okay, let's watch the first video and we'll be right back.
For decades. Just like when Zhu Rongji came to the United States, he boasted in China, "I'm going to the United States. I'm going to tell Americans that they do not have a choice." When he arrived in the United States, he told Americans, "Please do not get mad at us. Please cheer up. China and the United States must be in peace." Finally, they signed the World Trade Organization trade agreement, and the agreement almost destroyed the United States. American lawyers get $30 billion to $50 billion in legal fees from the CCP every year. Don't forget, where is the money from? The US dollars come from America itself. Vice Premier Wu Yi was the main negotiator during trade negotiations. Zhu Rongji told him directly that he had met several private entrepreneurs. And what was wrong with giving dollars to Americans? Dollars used come from the United States. It is the United States that makes China's GDP double every year. The China concept stocks are used to pay American lawyers. Aren't the China concept stocks used to steal the US dollar? Doesn't the money come from the United States? So, this is the CCP's destroying America from within and destroying America with the dollar. The CCP uses Americans' greed from American law firms and accounting firms, the technology of the United States, and the corruption of the US government to bring down the United States. This is what the CCP calls destroying America from within. This is the core of the 3F plan, isn't it? The 3F plan is designed to fail, frail, and fall America. When I informed Americans, they did not take it seriously. They will find out soon. Now Fail America has not started, let alone Fall America. Let's wait and see the development of COVID-19 and its vaccines. When America awakens, it might already be too late. We'll see. What are Americans doing now? She has only one agenda when he comes to the United States. What else can he do except beg, deceive, and persuade America? What else do you think he can do? What can he promise the United States? As long as the CCP regime remains in China, what do you think she can promise the United States? What he can offer is merely a commitment to China's market and financial market in exchange for America providing the CCP with technology. If Americans accept this condition, they will be betraying the United States and the country will perish. The CCP has deceived America for 50 years or 70 years. Will the Americans continue to fall for this deception? The Americans should learn the lesson from the World Trade Organization, right? The June 4th incident in 1989 has shown the evilness of the CCP, as well as how the CCP treats Hong Kong. Why do the Americans still believe the CCP? If Americans continue to hold this belief, no one can say.
As we can see from this video, that the Chinese Communist Party's tactics hasn't changed. They always lie to you and try to, it seems like they're kowtow to you, but eventually they're going to fight back. They're going to try to infiltrate and destroy you from inside. That's very critical from Miles' intelligence. And what's your opinion, Chris, on this topic?
I think that the CCP is adept at playing a two-faced game, and one face for domestic audiences, another for the international stage. They will spin any lies to hook people. They deceive not only Americans, but also the Chinese. In the past, they tricked Chinese people into supporting the CCP's seizure of power and fooled Americans into believing they would follow international rules to join the WTO. But we later know that none of the promise was delivered by the CCP. And also the American communists who were duped share some blame. Back then, it was the Clinton who sacrificed American interests to help the CCP to join the WTO. Clinton was a traitor who betrayed American interests, a deceiver of both American and the world, aligned with the American communists. Looking back at the changes in the global trade landscape after the CCP joined the WTO, it wasn't just American factories that moved offshore. Many Taiwanese factories also relocated to communist China. Beyond factories, technology, expertise, talent, capital, and investment flown out, massively empowered the Chinese Communist Party and turning it into a monster while weakening America's global position and influence. The CCP then used state subsidies to dump these products on global markets, seizing market share worldwide. This is what the CCP did. We know now President Trump is using the tariff to shift this dynamic, but U.S. legislations need to keep up the pace. Technology and the economic must decouple from the CCP. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for summarizing this. Definitely, decoupling is very key. So I know, President Trump is very good making deals, but he also need to be very cautious. Now, all the American people, you cannot trust the CCP. They cannot be trustworthy for the last 20, 30 years. Neither this time, so we got to be more careful. Okay, now let's go to Mr. Truth, and let's share your thought on this.
Thanks. Well, thanks, Chris, for laying down the history briefly about what happened since they have joined the WTO. But that's with Premier Zhu Rongji. Just tell you what character of this guy is. He was, he said in this so-called in his era, while he is the premier, and I remember he called the anti-corruption movements, where he sarcastically built the 100 coffins. He said the 99 of them is for the corrupted Chinese Communist parties and officials, and the last one is for himself to rest. I mean, it sounds like himself is like anti-corruption hero, but indeed we know like his son and Zhu Yongnai and those guys control a massive amount of state-owned asset, and later on was floated to Hong Kong market as well as the United States market, and made so much money. Okay, and we know that he is the most corrupted. He is the first one who destroyed the manufacturer bases in China, and particularly in the northeast, where it was built by the old Russia and the Japanese in particular, and some Germans as well during the World War II. And that was said to be, to be the like London, okay, the east of London, okay. But unfortunately, they have laid out the massive amount of workers and forced the young females going down south for prostitution. It's a massive amount of things. I think a lot of Chinese people know about it, but I think maybe this information wasn't broadcast much in the West, how the CCP have systematically robbed the workers, been there for, for a couple of decades, at least since 1949. And then they also lost the working. Not only that, all the land factories become so-called public asset, but it's not. Only those corrupted top officials have the power to seizure the asset, the factory, for example, and then package them, start later on for property development. That was the game. So if you talk about property development, who get most of the interest are those communist parties leaders and their sons, and later on the grandsons. I think they are the most rich men by so-called land reform and factory reform. Okay, and they allowed the so-called public factory manufacturing bases become privately bought. But we know who bought them. If you're not the son of Zhu Yongji, the son of Liu Shaoqi, and those guys, there's no way you can buy them. Okay, first of all, the bank wouldn't lend you money. So Chinese bank belonged to the CCP. Okay, so once you understand that, can you trust Zhu Yongji? Okay, of course you can't. But I think they have very good techniques. Also, with the help of the globalists, particularly in the America for the communist movements, socialist communist movements, whatever you call it, and they together allowed the CCP come along to do business, open the market, and then the story is that they have used the opening position of the market and the population basis in China then, and then hijacked all the Western investors with technology know-how. You must open that to share. We share half, otherwise we would not let you come to our market. So, well, it's a bigger market, of course, and the manufacturing, once you have the money flow in, then technology, machinery, all that can be upgraded. It's not too hard. And then massive amount of manufacturing sitting place later on overtaken Western, especially United States manufacturing bases, and then massive amount of unemployment in the West, particularly in the United States. And then not only that, the Wall Street help later on, okay, the manufacturing bases in China, the profit they make in export, they all packed together through, and loaded to Wall Street with a special condition, which is CCP's book. You cannot auction them. Yeah, you cannot audit them. So everyone else, you have to get the big four to audit, to get the financial bank statement to say they have made that much money this year. Then according to return on investment ratio, 10 or 20%, then he is the capital. But no, you cannot audit the CCP. So without the help of infiltration into the deep state, the United States, this wouldn't be possible. When I look at that myself, I think, it's just unbelievable. They treat the CCP's asset as if the parents. Of course, what money they got 30 to 50 billion US dollars of consulting fee, such as accounting and the legal fees. This is why those guys have become so fat cats, and then they were total to CCP. That's why Miles was still in there, okay? They weaponized the whole Justice Department and the legal system and just did what they wanted, just like the CCP in China, okay? So that's what I have to show. So now what we're going to do is we have to decoupling from the CCP and bring the manufacturing base back. We have to now do what they have done to the United States. So that's what President Trump is doing, okay? What we're doing, we're going to weaponize tariff, politics, sides, the tariff. If you don't listen, whatever you in and out the export, we're going to have a tariff on it. This is it's working now. I think the CCP is the last one. Given some time extension, I think that just give United States and Europe more time to get the supply chain sorted out. So, and especially energy and a few other things and rare earths. And at the last moment, I think the United States is going to be set up a precedent to how they take the Iranians sent with the B-2. I feel that same is going to be the way to go. Otherwise, you cannot negotiate with CCP because they're very deceptive. They lied to themselves, to the people, to everyone, to their own party members even. They kill each other. So they are not really human beings in that sense. Back to you, Zee. Thank you.
Thank you again, both, for clearly elaborate, how the CCP have been lying to the world. And there's no doubt they're going to do that at the same time. You don't expect that a sly CCP will change their mind and they're nice to everybody, that will not lie, that will provide prosperity to the world. It's not likely going to happen this time. So we need to be extremely suspicious and cautious when dealing with them. And hopefully during this terrible wartime, President Trump is going to make the right move and to take them down financially. Okay, now let's go to the second video and let's see another evidence or of example of CCP infiltration.
Infiltrated, Back in 2016 and 2017, when I was in Washington, I told them, I said, look at the buildings across from you. The U.S. Treasury right next to the White House, the Federal Reserve across from it, and the Pentagon over here. I won't mention their names. Remember, those who recently raised the issue with the Federal Reserve, including members of the U.S. military, regarding the possibility of an attack on Taiwan, have been invited to my home for dinner. Back in 2015, 2016, and 2017, they have all been my house for dinner. I've mentioned this in some live broadcasts. I asked them in person. I asked them about the alleged 36 executions by China, but the number was actually more than 60, as well as the execution of Tong Baohua. He looked surprised and asked, "How do you know the number?" I said, "You have all been deceived or bought off by the CCP." I met many people from the Federal Reserve. I told them, "You have been infiltrated." At the end of 2014, when I had just arrived in the UK, I met with White House officials from the State Department who were in charge of national security and China affairs. I met them in London. I said, if you don't recognize that the CCP will become your all-encompassing threat in the future, you can check the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Congress, and the U.S. Parliament to find out how many people are cooperating with the CCP. The Federal Reserve is one of them. Why did I mention the Federal Reserve then? He asked, why do you care about this? What can they get from the Federal Reserve? A senior White House official, an Asia and China expert, a strategic advisor, and a senior official at the time said, what can they get by infiltrating the Federal Reserve? I said they want access to all your financial and strategic policies. I also told him the CCP has already prepared to use digital currency to confront the U.S. It wants to lead the world, including quantum technology and currency systems. Back then, they thought I was crazy, but now everything has happened. The Federal Reserve has realized the extent of the CCP's infiltration and threat. It's like you suddenly discovered that your enemy has planted multiple timed explosives inside your body. What would your reaction be? All of the U.S. national debt, monetary policy, the entire domestic annual economic plans, and real data. It's terrifying. The CCP has taken it all since a long time ago, using all means, including robbing, forcing, and the BGY, blackmail, bribery, and honey traps. The CCP uses each available tactic. So, this time, the Federal Reserve will definitely fight against the CCP. They will completely destroy the CCP's so-called digital RMB. To protect itself, the Federal Reserve will confront the CCP on a global scale. And when the Federal Reserve makes a move with its money and power, its influence will be huge. In the end, the biggest beneficiary will be the new federal state of China. Let's just
I think you've probably heard one of the focus right now is the argument between President Trump and Jerome Powell regarding the Fed rate. And there are a lot of things about Federal Reserve, how it was founded, how it does. But no matter what, it is still currently the most it's mostly doing the stabilizing the economy job right now. If for some reason it depends. If the people doesn't want Federal Reserve, they can do that, especially U.S. people. But if the CCP wants to do something, their goal is not replacing the Federal Reserve with a better institute. Definitely not. Their goal is to destroy the U.S. dollar hegemony and then overtake that role using the digital RMB or other DCBC. So we got to be extremely cautious about it. And let's go to first Chris. You will probably share a little bit of history about Federal Reserve and what he's takeaway for this piece of video. Chris.
Okay, so the U.S. dollar's status as the world's primary reserve currency relies on America's economic strength. For example, like open financial markets, the SWIFT system, and dominance in pricing commodities like oil. And these are the 4 pillars the CCP seeks to challenge and replace. The core of the CCP's 3F plan is to topple the US and take its place. And the CCP's CBDC is absolutely centralized, deglobalized yuan aimed to undermining the US dollar and the euro, serving as one of the CCP's tools to replace the US. And like the shareholder bank of the Federal Reserve, such as JP Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo, and Bank of New York Mellon, are controlled through their ownership by institutional investors like Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, and historical financial dynasties such as Rockefeller, DuPont, and Mellon, which expert influence over the Federal Reserve via bank equity. And these financial dynasties must realize they can no longer collude with the CCP. They should shift their stance to eliminating the CCP, as the CCP's destruction of America will also gradually dismantle these dynasties. If the Federal Reserve were to pivot toward supporting the takedown of the CCP, we can see like how immense would that force be. And then China after the fall of the CCP would be a truly clean China, a genuinely safe China, a China that prosper alongside with the US and the world, with the ideal business environment. So I think that's what I get from these videos of Mr. Mousewall. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for reviewing the history. I think a lot of audience are more familiar about that for us. You know, there's many different kinds of opinions on the role of Federal Reserve. I think there are always both pros and cons, right? At least right now we're in a stable system. Maybe they have been taking advantage of the people, you know, taking the hardworking money from all people all around the world. But at least right now we're still living a decent life. And just think about if we're going to go into another recession or something, and especially initiated by the CCP, that's going to be a nightmare for everybody. So we got to be really cautious regarding this one. Mr. Truce, please comment.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris, for laying the foundation. So we know that the Federal Reserve is a privately owned system by those major banks historically. And basically, it has the function of supply money to the United States, again, with the SWIFT system, which is a payment system among member countries of other side or the rest of the world for international trade. So, and by everyone abiding to using US dollars to trade for goods, okay, member countries, and then you enjoy the traditionally they don't have internet at this time, so you use telegraphs to do those paperwork trading. It has done tremendous amount of historically good, okay, but we know later on we found they can print more money without so this is some people will call it steering, okay, so this is common sense. So but because it is not openly available, the figures, but the CCP somehow through the infiltration BGY, they get into the Federal Reserve, according to Mousewall's intel and the video you can see. So what happened is they have understand what you guys are going to do, your futuristic policies, and what are you actually going to take. So by relying on this situation now, the CCP, want to gain the upper hand. They don't want to trade with US dollars. You know why? Because once you use US dollars, the US can have all kind of sanctions. If you trade with US dollars belong to the United States government, then they can, long-arm administration, so-called. In other words, wherever you are in the world, as long as you use US dollars, they have the power to audit you and find out what you're doing, except with the CCP, of course, been BGY, right? So what we're saying is it is good so far, but I think if not done carefully, especially the currency should have a way to defend the national sovereignty. So it should work together. That's my view, okay? But with the government, say when your tariff happens, if the other countries reduce the interest rate like the CCP, okay? The interest rate is just half of the United States. So what happens is then the goods, the manufacturing costs can come down. I mean, 2.5% is a lot, okay, of money. When you calculate the money supply, the M1, M2 circulations using those terms. So, therefore, it will continuously weaken the purchasing power of parity of the United States. And in the long run, with the manufacturing basis gone, okay, you only engage in trade. What that only benefits the multinational companies. Small business will wiped out. So what you're going to have is the rich become so rich, where the poverty is almost everyone, probably 95%, 99% people living in a state of poverty. So what we need to do, I think, if you for defense of the justice and also for equality, we should maybe use the banking system, to restructure in a way. to let everyone have a fair share. And also now we're using internet. We're using, decentralized cryptocurrency as a payment now. The bank fees should be almost zero. So I think the new Federal State of China, the HPay, have shown the example over the last 3 years how this can happen. And also, it's also transparent. Also, if you don't use gold as a reserve, at least you're not going to be abused the power of printing money for your own. That's just like stolen. Just imagine I'm the reserve bank of a country. I just printed like 10 billion US dollars or 10 billion my own currency. I can use whatever you want to do because it's privately owned, right? So that's the problem. Maybe unfair disadvantage. We want to open it. We want to defend our nation. Not only you can defend by your soldiers, but you also can be by monetary war. I mean, there's always currency wars going on, never finished. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to together to use the tariff together as well as use the currency to suppress the CCP, make sure they don't get all the upper hand. If they do, okay, everyone, all your private information is going to become this, and they're going to control you in all kind of different ways once they know your bank account, how much money you have. That's dangerous. Back to you. Thank you.
Exactly. We're living in a very dangerous situation. We're on the verge of financial collapse because of Federal Reserve's financial policies in the last few years. They print out too much money, causing inflations and unstable economy. It looks like, we're doing fine, especially the stock market just hit record high this week. However, there are a lot of problems. Unemployment, the high inflations, and people are suffering. Definitely everything doesn't look that good. We're not going to spend too much time blaming Federal Reserve's situation, but the most importantly is we got to be alert on the CCP's role behind this. And eventually, CCP wants to use the centralized digital currency, DCCB, to basically to control the world, control your money, your wallet, everything. And that's something we don't like. We don't want a big dictatorship nation, big brother, to keep watching your wallet all the time. That's not good stuff. Okay, let's go to the final the 3 videos. Good news is U.S. is waking up. A lot of people from the Congress and near president advisors, and they're making good progress in taking down the CCP. Let's check it out.
Is it that all those same tech bros want to give all of their technology to China at the same time? I mean, you can't have it both ways, Steve. You can't say that, oh, we got to beat China, we got to win, therefore AI ought to be able to take everything you own, and also in the same breath turn around and say, oh, and by the way, we ought to share all of our tech know-how with China, all of our chips, all of our technology. It ought to be, we should be preventing our technology from flowing to China because we are in a race to beat China on this. But listen, the other thing is, let's just remember, Steve, you and I've heard these arguments before. A lot of these arguments from the tech bros sound a heck of a lot like the 1990s in free trade. You remember what they said then? We're going to democratize China. Yeah, we need to trade with China and let them cheat on trade because it's going to be good for us. We're going to change them. We're going to democratize them. Now they're saying, yeah. If we just go out there and take every piece of personal property that belongs to every individual American, we'll be able to beat China. I don't believe that for a second. We need to protect the American people, put the American people first. We need to cut off tech from going to China. That's how we actually get stronger in this country. I think what the tech bros want to do is just make money. And they don't care who wins at the end of the day, so long as it's them with their profits.
Yeah, I think Senator Hawley was 100% right. You cannot just continue to feed the Chinese Communist Party with your high techs. Although, honestly speaking, if you focus on recent technological news, is actually the U.S. industry, or the whole industry, manufacturing especially, are hollowing out. It has been slowly exporting the manufacturing capability and capacities to globally. And now the U.S. Now if you look at all the videos from the China's most recent manufacturing companies, they're even can compete with the U.S. or even leading over U.S. for in some special industries, and it has to relate it to also with the cultural change for among the during the last few decades. Is the younger graduates no longer like to go to the manufacturing. You can see the number of enrollment from engineering, science and engineering, or STEM field, and people prefer to go to Wall Street to make quick money and easy money, or just become a software engineering. However, the manufacturing is the foundation of industrial country. If you lose that capability and also interest in it, and it's hard to turn around. But either way, the U.S. have to take actions and stop the CCP this way. Otherwise, the CCP will becoming the #1 industrial country very soon. So we got to be also take actions on that. So Chris, what's your thought on this? I think America is waking up. That's good news, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, because we know President Trump is doing the jobs to make America great again. So merely bringing capital back from communist China is not enough. We must also prevent capital from flowing back into the CCP's hand. This is why the CCP needs technology. New technology creates new product, and new products generate profits. Under the CCP's authoritarian regime, new technology cannot be developed or thrive. In a company, if decision makers are technology-driven, they prioritize choices that foster technological innovations. However, the CCP's dictatorship-driven system suppress technological-driven decisions, hindering research and development. As a result, new technologies and innovations cannot be created. Unable to innovate, the CCP resorts to stealing and deceiving to obtain them. So the Silicon Valley tech companies have been collaborating with the CCP for a long time. The technology for Communist China's Green Dam internet censorship system came from Microsoft, came from the Bill Gates. And Mark Zuckerberg also contributed online surveillance and censorship technology to the CCP. The bosses of these Silicon Valley tech companies have been working with the CCP for years. The CCP's blue, gold, yellow strategy involving espionage, bribery, and honey traps has ensnared them, providing illegal services and goods, including underage boys and underage girls. With so many compromising secrets in the CCP's hands, it's no wonder why resist decoupling technologically from the CCP. So since they are unwilling to decouple, legislation must be used to sever their actions. No more technology or money should be funneled to the CCP. The new Chinese market after the CCP's downfall will be the truly clean one that America can work with, not the CCP's market right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I don't have anything to add on for now, but let's go to Mr. Truth and we'll continue.
Well, I think this is a very important topic indeed. We know that everything is about the future is driven by technology. So if we don't stop the way the CCP have been stealing and trade secrets and technological know-hows, and further weaken the rest of the world by they've been dictatorship of nature, and they're gonna destroy the whole world. Okay, once they gain the military advantage, for example, by stealing the military technologies, like drones and so on, they already demonstrated, and the balloons, and there will be unrestricted warfare with also the asymmetric warfare of military special equipment and technologies that can determine the fate of the world, how the earth is going to be survive or not. So I agree, we must decoupling from CCP, okay, and don't do anything, and we'll only start working with them on after CCP downfalls. That will be truly a clean one. So, in other words, I think the United States people are ready, and now the most leaders, politically, military, they are ready to take down the CCP. Okay, and so Chinese people are very hardworking. Okay, they're very intelligent. Their hands are especially, very. They've been using that, like chopsticks, for example, for anything. And we really need to take advantage of that. But there's under one condition: no more CCP's regime in China. We're gonna have one person, one vote. We're gonna have a freedom of speech, and then we can work with everyone together, and then just regenerate our absolute vitality and advantage in all aspects of life, and then we can share through free trade with the rest of the world. That's what really Chinese people can do the best without the CCP, and the world will benefit tremendously. There will be no more even those rare earth wars we've been seeing on how that it's a lock, deadlock to the U.S. actions for the rest of the time. I think this, once we unlock that, I think then everything will flow well. Thank you so much for watching. Let's take down the CCP.
Excellent. Yes, definitely. Every aspect, we're seeing very good progress recently with Congress proposing new act to deter CCP, to work with Taiwan to protect Taiwan, and to also introduce new financial regulations to stabilize the economy. I think everything is making, and also most importantly, the tariff to punish the CCP, and everything is making a good progress regarding that. Okay, I think we're around the time to wrap up, and maybe a few more minutes we can just summarize the takeaway, and that will be a good conclusion. And let's start from Chris. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I think that because I remember that Mr. Bernard said the final war between good and evil, maybe it's in the midterm elections. So before the midterm elections, we still need to keep up our work, and then and then do what we should do, and then try spread out the truth, and then let the world know how evil CCP are, and do what all we can do. And then but in the end, we will succeed. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. At the end, we'll have a bright future without the CCP. Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Truce, a couple of minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, I think the CCP have demonstrated the world over the last 75 years how they treat the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, and the Chinese people, and enslaved all of us. We don't even have the right to open our internet to see what we see YouTube's and CNN. We cannot see that. So we have the beautiful eyes, but we are truly blind in terms of exchange and sharing, and they have the right to grow our understanding what happens in the world. So that's how evil the CCP is. I just can't understand why the Western, of course, they've been BGY'd to support the technology initially for the Great Firewall, okay? So that's not fair, all right? So we're not going to take down the CCP once we're taking them down. We're also going to take down the rest of the evils, okay, who have impinged the suffering into our Chinese people, okay? We don't want to even revenge anything for physically, but we just want the people to know this world should not allow those evil like the CCP to take in place. I think if the people want to live in peacefully, of course, we must take down the CCP. The sooner the better. Thank you.
100%. So we're still hoping Miles Guo's case can be released and audited because he's still suffering and he is innocent, and I don't know why. And anyway, the collusion between the Wall Street and big bankers and the Chinese Communist Party has been going on for many decades, since probably 80s in China, and they're all benefit. When people are talking about, oh yeah, we transfer all the manufacturing, outsourcing it to China or other countries, but you have to see this is the problem or disadvantage of humanity is the capitalism. All those Wall Street investors, they only care about money or profit. They don't care about who created this product, whether it goes to they own the reason I think they're colluding with the Chinese Communist Party. They see the big market. They're taking advantage of all the cheap labor, slave labors in China and other Asian countries, and exploit them. All the money did not go to the Chinese people. A lot of them are still living under poverty line, working 24 hours or 24/7 or whatever, 996. And still they can barely make a good living, and that's not what we want. Like Mr. Chu said, we want to build a new free world that the hardworking ordinary people can live under fair. They can live a decent life, not like 99% or 90% of the wealth go to the top 1% of the wealthy people living in the Wall Street. So that's not what we want. But this is a very tough times. We don't like Federal Reserve, but we cannot. Even we don't like them, but we cannot let CCP to replace them, because CCP will be even worse choice. A lot of things to think about. So let's focus on the CCP and take them down as soon as possible. Okay, sorry, I think it's the end of the show today. Thank you very much, Mr. Truce and Chris. Very nice discussion with all you, and thank you for audiences for focus. And please stay tuned and stay focused on the CCP. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.
See you.
Bye.
他们的恐惧是我们的武器，我们的胜利。谢谢了，兄弟姐妹们，你们健身了吗？行动，行动，行动！中共，你完了 ！Take down the CCP！
For the games you want to play, bring it on and I will fight to the end. Just watch and see. It's all started, everything's begun, and you are over. Cause we're taking down the CCP. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. We will fight till they're all gone. We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP. They have all life for too long. We will end what they do wrong. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. Let's take down the CCP. Let the bullets fly a little longer, and you will surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. We will have freedom to live. We will win. You'll surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. Let the bullets fly a little longer.
中共，
Let the bullets fly a little
你
longer.
完了！
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
中共，你完了！干灭中国共产党这个 CCP， 还能让我 们远离恐惧。Take down CCP.
They try to scare the nation with fabrication, but we see through the lies. We won't fall, we will fight you back. Police corruption with crooked assumption. They ran our lives, but no more. We will win. We will take down the CCP. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. We will fight till they're all gone. We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP. They have all lied for too long. We will end what they do wrong. Spread the word all through Hong Kong. Let's take down the CCP. Let the bullets fly a little longer, and you will surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. We will have freedom to live. We will win. You'll surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. Let the bullets fly a little longer.
站起来吧！
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
站起来吧！
Let the bullets fly a little
被
longer.
奴役的人们
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
行动！
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
行动！
Let the bullets fly a little
你
longer.
完了
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
！Take down CCP.
Bullets fly a little longer, and you will surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer. We will have freedom to live. We will win. You'll surrender. Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little
CCP.
longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little
CCP.
longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little
CCP.
longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little
CCP.
longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little
CCP.
longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little
CCP.
longer.
Take down
Let the bullets fly a little longer.
Take down the evil CCP. 他们的恐惧。